Todd Gurley is a fantastic and very unfortunate example of injuries absolutely decimating a career. He was literally my first good example of showing how volatile not just football careers are, but specifically running back careers are. Todd Jerome Gurley dead been that dude since he was an adolescent. A semi-North Carolina representative, he was a 3-sport guy in high school. I'm talking about he ran in the USA qualifier for hurdles and won. He absolutely dominated at Tarboro High School, had some of North Carolina's most diabolical numbers, and he was rewarded for it. Ended up as a 4-star recruit and was wanted by all. Ended up committing to Georgia, and it ain't take long at all for him to become a serious contributor as a dog. It was actually immediate, for real. He became the featured guy in their backfield by week 2, deservingly so. He ended the year with 17 rushing touchdowns, tied for 3rd most in the season in the school's history, as well as 2nd in the SEC in rushing yards, making all SEC first team. His last 2 years of school weren't quite the same though. Saw him a few injuries, specifically in his sophomore year that cooked that season pretty bad, and actually got suspended for 4 games his junior year for taking payments for some signed memorabilia. Which sucks, to be honest, cause you got all the NIL business going nowadays. Regardless though, he came back from his suspension for the Auburn rivalry game and was Schmeckeldorfing them boys, until he tore his ACL. Yeah, his season was done. In his 3 years though, Todd racked up almost 3,300 rushing yards and 36 touchdowns in only 30 games, bro. Them totals tied him for 2nd in school history at the time that he left, behind Herschel Walker. Like I said, at the time he left, not no more though. And right now is a great time to mention. People always bring up that insane Alabama QB room, the crazy receiver rooms that Ohio State and Alabama have had. But Todd Gurley's last year overlapped with a couple certain guys. 3 or probably Georgia's 4 best backs was all on the team at the same time. Anyways, Todd decided to skip his senior year and go ahead to the league. Everybody knew dude was tough, but he had obviously gotten hurt a decent way into his last season. A pretty serious injury at that. And they ain't know how the league would feel about that. Turns out the league ain't care and the Rams took him 10th overall. The St. Louis Rams still, at that point. Super tough jerseys, I think. I miss him, personally. He had tore his ACL in November, so it was thought that he'd at least miss a good chunk of his first year at best. He missed 2 games and made his debut in week 3. By the next week, he was on that. 144 rushing yards in the second half alone. Rushed for 128 a game over the next 3 games too. All in all, boy had an absolutely splendid rookie campaign. Became the 3rd Rams rookie to rush for 1,000, joining Jerome Bettis and Eric Dickerson. A touch over 1,100 rushing yards and 10 tuds. A Pro Bowl nod, and he won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Yep, was a pretty good introduction to the league. Now year 2 for the now Los Angeles Rams was not hitting like that, I ain't gonna lie. The league was on notice. Rams was dog water that year. Just so happened to be Jared Goff's rookie year as well. But they trashness that year set Todd and the Rams as a whole up for the greatest thing that could have happened for him. Jeff Fisher got the boot, and in came Sean McVay. And boy, I ain't gonna lie, Sean turned them boys up. Now Todd Gurley was always a zone runner through and through, allowing for him to make one move and put his absolute blazing speed to use. McVay came in and just, jazzed it up a little bit. Used a plethora of motions to neutralize defenses. Always made it a key point to get his main goon to rock by any means. Smart man. And he used TG a lot more in the receiving game. 2017 was the year Todd really took it to another level. Had him some pretty impressive performances. Week 4, he gave the Cowboys 215 scrimmage yards and a tud. Week 15, he seen the end zone 4 times, alongside 180 yards from scrimmage. And the very next week, he put up another 276 scrimmage yards and 2 receiving tuds. Man led the league in rushing touchdowns, putting up 19 total. Led the league in scrimmage yards, scored the most points for a non-kicker, and was the 8th member of the 1,300-750 rushing receiving yard club. The accolades just continued to pour in. Another Pro Bowl nod, and his first team All-Pro appearance, and 1 Offensive Player of the Year. Now the Rams for sure fell on their face a little bit and lost in the wild card round, but I ain't gonna lie, who cares? At this point, Gurley wasn't just the best weapon in the game. He was one of the best players, period. And that summer, it came time to cut that check. 4 years for 60 M's. Los Angeles deservedly made him the highest paid back, and his 2018 was equally diabolical. He saw very slight dips in his rushing and receiving yardage, but this year he scored 21 touchdowns including setting a new team record by scoring in 13 straight games. But things got interesting at the tail end of the regular season, as LA shut Todd down for the last 2 games because of some knee inflammation. Oss came around though, and Todd looked fabulous against the Cowboys. But so did CJ Anderson. LA had them some double trouble action going that weekend. And it was real interesting to see TG Slick get outshined by somebody who the team had just signed a month prior due to Todd's injuries. Whatever though. Moving on to the NFC Championship. Todd was cheeks. Not really, he just ain't getting no kind of burn, as the Rams beat the Saints. As a Panther fan though, to this day, I don't care that the Saints got cheated, I'm glad they did. But by this point, the public was massively confused. Folks wanted to know what was up with Todd Gurley. CJ Anderson was the featured back end, what up until that point was the most important game of the season. But y'all know what teams do. They lie. Just said, we riding a high hand. Ain't nothing to be too concerned about. Yeah. Them 2 weeks leading up to the bowl, boy, everybody was discussing Todd Gurley and his health. There were ample amounts of conflicting reports. Some say he wasn't even hurt for real, and others saying his knee was cooked, but LA just ain't want to come out and say it. Super Bowl came around, and sure, Todd Gurley ain't look quite right. True enough statement. Same time though, we just gotta call a spade, cause Bill Belichick in New England gave up one of the best defensive performances I have ever seen in my life. Held the high power offense the Rams possess, the 13th highest scoring offense of all time, to a measly 3 points, and also gave the league the blueprint for shutting them boys down. Before getting into 2019 though, all the speculators worried about Todd were absolutely correct, cause LA finally announced shortly after the season that Cud had arthritis in his knee. All them ACL problems he had finally caught up to him. He was doomed. But 2019 wasn't too hot. Rams was just okay, missing the playoffs, and Todd's numbers dropped significantly. Now, there were a few factors that played into it. Firstly, LA lost a couple linemen that offseason, and right tackle Rob Havenstein got hurt halfway into the year. All that to say, they O-line play significantly regressed. In 2018, they were historically good, and got lucky cause that unit ain't see no injuries. To go alongside that, New England gave the exact blueprint to slowing LA down. They combated their scheme by going heavy in the bowl and absolutely ragdolled them boys. And the pros, they copycat leagues. So everybody else ended up doing it too. And it worked. So yeah, Todd ain't quite look the same. True. But as I hopefully just explained well enough, there was some important context to that down year. LA though, they knew they had to make a business decision. Todd's health was super up in the air cause you can't just reverse arthritis. You gotta hope you can keep it from getting worse. And that boy had an astronomical contract, making way more than the league's top rushers for that year. So LA cut him. He had one of the most dominant 2-year stretches ever in 2017 and 18, was only 25 years old. Not even supposed to actually be in his prime year for real. And in about a year and a half, Todd Gurley went from the league's best weapon to unemployed, jobless. While it was easy to just write him off, which most did, some thought that there could still be hope for a return to form. Atlanta took the chance and signed him to a little 1 year. He was not good, bro, I'm not gonna lie. Did still have a little nose for the end zone though, and scored 9 more times. He was buns though, bro, and Atlanta ain't re-signed him. His career ended at 26. You wanna know how good Todd Gurley was? He ain't played in 4 years. 4 years. And he still got the 9th most touchdowns out of all non-QBs since 2017. Do you understand what I just said, bro? He was special, dude. A surefire Hall of Fame career that got nuked by injuries. Makes you appreciate what all-timers like McCaffrey and Derrick Henry are currently doing. And Frank Gore. Jesus Christ. And I'll be real, he played a key role in destroying the running back position, I ain't gonna lie. Backs do not get paid no more because of situations just like this. The whole time, there was another guy I might speak on one day that played a good part in it too. Hope y'all enjoyed this one right here, dog. Stories like Todd Gurley's absolutely break my heart, cause it was not at all that long ago when I was watching this man absolutely cook the league. I refuse to let the world forget how good Todd Gurley was. Like I said though, hope y'all enjoyed this one. If you did, leave me a little like, leave any kind of comments you got, subscribe to the channel. Tap in on my social medias too, I have them linked in the description. And I'ma see y'all soon in the next one.